Here we go.
Oh,
Hello. Hello, hello, hello.
hello.
Local Experimentalist UK and AgeCaseV here. Here we go.
What you say, man? We good?
How you doing? How you doing, everyone? Yeah, not too bad, Age. Been lazing around, looking at climate change today. Yeah. Learned a lot. Learned a lot of names and elements and yeah. What I want to talk about, what it would be good to talk about, is controlled opposition and big oil oppositions. That would be a good discussion. Yeah. Like the sound of that. That's my field.
It's a big subject, I suppose. It's one of them. Another one you could just chat about all night. And everyone could get involved. If they want to come up, we'll put the link up soon, innit?
Yeah.
But who's here tonight?
You might as well do the register. Yeah.
Read out them names. I'll go from the top. Good evening, Agent X. Good evening,
Agent.
Local Experimentalist. Good evening, local. Andy W. Good evening. I'm a funny little man. Dave Chatura.
Dave Chatura, yeah.
Evening, Batman. Evening, Vanished.
Batman,
Alfred Michelle Volp.
Hello, guys and girls. Earthlings, I should say. People don't identify as men and women these days. So we just call you Earthlings or you by your name.
So has it been hot? Hot where you are today? It's been roasting here.
Yeah, not bad. Yeah, it's been hot in London, man. I don't know. I didn't look at the temperature because that will just make me even hotter.
It's always like a degree or more hotter in London than everywhere else. Definitely. Especially in the main city. Fuck me. Gets really hot there, doesn't
it? Yeah, really hot.
That's got to be all the concrete and pollution that warms it up.
It's clacking it down.
What's that?
Lancashire.
Chucking it down.
Chucking it down. Did I say clucking? Oh.
Yeah, man. Where's the chart then? Should we get the chart? What's today's topics? Climate change. I had to put what's his name? Leonardo DiCaprio at the bottom.
Yeah, why did you put him there? What is he what to do?
Oh, he's like one of the main sort of I'd say he's part of the controlled opposition. Like he said he flies around the world telling us we should live like this and live like that, but then he's flying on private jets and he probably like uses more carbon than all of us in this room put together. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Is that what you mean?
He's a bit of a hypocrite.
Is that what you mean by controlled opposition? Like celebrities saying one thing and doing the next?
Yeah, possibly.
Is it
they're all part of it?
Is it all the media you're on about? Controlled opposition.
Like the big oil companies mainly and the media who they buy.
Yeah. Yeah, for the last for the last 30 years they've been paying the government money to keep their mouths shut. And they've been promoting a lot of good things. But now they're being sued for their propaganda.
What, from the 70s?
Yeah, up to now, you know, feeding us that, oh, what we're doing is good and what they're doing on their part. Oh yeah, sounds all nice, fairy tale like. But in reality, it's destroying communities. I've seen a few videos where people's lakes where they fish in Africa have all fish have died, been contaminated by the waste, you know, from these factories, from these oil companies.
Yeah. See, pollution and climate change, it's all like linked, isn't it? It's all the big oil. Oh, that's number 3, carbon credits and corruption.
Right.
So it's all linked, I suppose.
What, carbon credit?
Yeah, so like the big corporations, they'll pay like billions of pounds a year to buy carbon credits, and then they can pollute a certain amount. And then what they do with these carbon credits is they plant trees or they'll put solar panels on somewhere, but most of it just gets siphoned off, and a lot of it is just bullshit.
One credit is 1 ton of carbon.
Yeah.
Yeah. My notes say carbon credits, they're also known as carbon offsets, are permits that allow owners to emit a certain amount of carbon dioxide or other greenhouse gases.
As
Carbon
long as they're
credit,
offsetting it with something.
Yeah. Carbon credits are measured measurable variable emissions, reductions from certified climate action projects.
And maybe they're doing it in other countries, but they don't seem to be doing it in our country, like offsetting programs, or I don't know. I just don't really see many. I don't know what it's called, like reports, or you know, where they've offset and they've built windmills or they've built a forest or something.
Well, they got 5. Is it 5? 1, 2, 3, 4. They deal with 4 main areas. They deal with natural-based solutions. This includes reforestations, land restorations, forest protections, sustainable land management, and agriculture. Renewable energy includes hydropower projects, wind projects, solar power, and geothermal. Community projects. This includes improved cook stoves technology, and also access to safe waters. And last but not least, waste to energy. This includes biogas from landfills and industry and biogas. So they deal with a few things. We just don't hear about it.
Okay. Yeah.
So they try and protect, but are they really protecting reforestations, land restorations, you know, forest protection, sustainable land management, and agriculture? The only thing that they're dealing with in that list is agriculture, you know. They want to produce more. That requires knocking down all the forests, I don't know what's going on.
Well, Europe basically knocked down all the trees in, it was between sort of 1300s and 1700s. But now it's like, I think they knocked down about 80% of all the trees across Europe during this time to build mainly boats and houses.
Yeah, mainly houses. Those massive trees back in those days as well that have been extinct.
Yeah. A lot of like wild cats and
animals as well, yeah, for
bears and stuff. Or you even had that land bridge that went from the Netherlands to England, Doggerland. What is it, Doggerland? Yeah. But that gets me onto the main point. I think Earth's climate is like a complex. There's so many factors like to make the climate, and that includes obviously the sun, tectonic plates, space, but the main driver of Earth's climate is over a long time is like the incoming solar radiation and the amount of heat that the Earth sends back into space.
Yeah.
And that's where human exploitation is like complicated it, the amount of solar radiation that we keep.
Alfred says serious climate change is a project from New Age agenda. We are all consumed from big farm. Yeah, we are. And it's just going to get worse. It's just going to get worse.
Hard not to buy something from some big corporation, isn't it?
No. It's we've been brainwashed into. Oh wait, let me put the disclaimer up first. There's the disclaimer, guys. If you don't know how to read, it says, "We're all mad. Don't believe a word we say." We've been brainwashed into believing that we need a car, and we need a house, and we need a job, and we need all these things that come along with it. We don't need none of it. Back in the day, 4,000 years ago, a man and woman, all they needed was each other and food and some shelter, and that's it. In a cave somewhere, or they'll dig.
So do you think by redesigning like our society with these 15-minute cities and shutting down all the high streets and all that, do you think that's a way of doing that? So we don't, consume all these goods that we don't need anymore. And everything we need, i.e. food and water and our job, is within 15-minute cities. I'm not calling for it, but I'm just saying, don't you think that's what they're doing slowly? Or they just want us to continue buying shit. And then one day they're just going to say, right, no one's allowed to buy anything anymore. You consume too much.
Well, I think it will be better like that, if they restrict us from, well, it's not restrict, it's they just take off the shelves and it's not there anymore. So we don't have that choice, that's all they're doing.
It says it's all going online so it can be monitored more. Yeah, there's shops in China where they don't even have staff. You just walk in, it knows who you are.
Sure.
And what you take from the shelves, it deducts it from your money.
Well, it doesn't know you. It just it detects it,
the AI, yeah.
Yeah.
So you can't steal anything. I'm not saying that we need to steal things, but
then maybe if you're looking at it, if you're saying like it will save and it will memorize, it would memorize you coming in at times, So then it will know to advertise its screens to whatever you buy, while you're in the shop, and it will sense you, it sends your presence, it will capture you on the one of their monitors, CCTVs, and then with all the screens in the shop that promote all the products and shit like that, the AI can control everything in the store. Obviously, there is no workers there, and then it will just promote everything that you usually buy. That it's remembered you from its journey. It knows what you're buying. It knows how much you're spending. It knows everything about your spending habits and your shopping, the consumer, and every shop that you go to, it's probably the same AI that links together.
Yeah, that's probably the way it's going.
There's a lot of things. We have to do more topics on the AI. One show isn't enough for most of the topics that we've spoke about. What is this number 24?
But will they also, yeah, will they also, it will like limit you buying meat or alcohol or certain things that uses more carbon than other things, I suppose, maybe? Do you think they'll start doing that as well?
Or if they were to promote it better to the public, carbon footprints and carbon dioxide and what's all of the other things. We've got all the other chemicals here. Let me read them out. We've got CO2. If people don't know, that's carbon dioxide. We've got CH4. That's methane. If people don't know, we've got H2O. What is H2O, guys? In the chat, what's H2O? And then we got CFCs. What is CFCs, guys? Also in the chat. Or Age, do you know what a CFC is?
Yeah.
Or CFCs?
Well, they were banned in the 80s because what they do to the ozone layer.
Yeah.
Which has shrunk. Apparently, it's been shrinking since we banned it. And they reckon it will close up by 2060.
It will close up.
So you could say human action did work. That one thing that we did.
Sure.
There's also fluorinated gases. Hydrofluorocarbons. That's what they have in like air and jet fuel and stuff.
Well, is that stratospheric aerosols?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's basically the 5 things that they deal with. Then stratospheric aerosols is all of that what you said put together. Anything that comes out of something, pollution, factories. Not, is it factories? No, just
methane.
Yeah, well, it all connects. Is the credit system good then? For the amount of carbon you want to produce to make the goods that you want to sell, you need to pay for the amount of carbon you will use. So to not pay that amount, you're going to need to use instruments that don't use as much energy as a normal machine does.
Like, you look at ULEZ. I think ULEZ is a bit barbaric, if I'm honest. It's what they've done is they haven't given people the opportunity to buy electric cars or get better transport system, and then they've just imposed this ULEZ in all these big cities, and I think it's a bit barbaric and too early. But then they're going to raise millions out of it. Are they going to put that millions back into the economy? I doubt it. I think some of it will be skimmed off the top.
It's because
they'll take their cuts. The legal teams will take their bit. It's bollocks. That's what I mean. It's all good. Like, they're saying that they're being green and they're doing this and they're doing that, but they're not putting enough money, infrastructure into the communities and the transportation and
the technology. Well, this Alfred has mentioned something serious now. Patents. Because of this problem, since patents were invented, it's been hard for people to do things freely. Oh, we can't do this. Oh, we can't do that. Where's the... Guys, don't forget the disclaimer.
We all mad.
Yeah. Andy, take care, mate.
So, like, do you know the difference between organic molecules and hydrocarbons? Or carbon bonded to hydrogen? Basically, organic molecules such as leaves and mud and all that sort of thing.
Okay. Organic.
The carbon bonds to the hydrogen, but in carbon dioxide, it's not present. So they don't call it an organic compound.
Oh.
And there's only two sort of things on the planet that produce these things, and it's humans and volcanoes.
Oh, it's always humans, isn't it? Fucking humans, man.
But humans produce about 220 times more than all the volcanoes on the earth. So volcanoes are just a touch, except every now and then you'll have like super eruptions. There was one in, I think it was 1830. Let me have a look at the exact year. I think it was 1830 eruption. And basically, it caused the whole summer. There was no summer that year in the northern equator. Mount Tambora, yeah. It was the biggest eruption in human history. And there was no summer that year, and a lot of the crops didn't grow, and a lot of people died. That was a big one.
This is the problem with the corruption.
20,000 deaths.
What was this? An oil spill?
No, it was a volcano eruption.
Oh, a volcano eruption, right? Wow.
Yeah, I was basically saying every now and then you'll get a massive eruption, but volcanoes are not the main cause of the carbon in the atmosphere.
It's humans?
Yeah.
Because we constantly, it's every day, it's every hour, it's every minute, it's every second. It doesn't stop. And this is the problem.
Yeah.
With volcanoes, they stop for thousands of years, and one will go off here, and then one will go off there. They won't all go off like they did before. That will never happen now.
I'll share this picture with you quick.
Yeah. Here we go.
So you have the carbon sinks and the carbon sources. Do you know much about this?
No.
So obviously, the sunlight, the sun it beams down on the Earth, and then it bounces back into space, all that heat. But
okay, yeah,
because of human, industry and factories and all, pollution, it's trapping these hydrocarbons in our atmosphere, and then what that does is it's warming the oceans up. Mainly the oceans that get warmed up.
Yeah, they raise up into the atmosphere and they stay there. That creates a wall, another layer in the atmosphere, a man-made layer.
And when they basically say that we've gone, our net CO2 is like over 4%. I reckon it's around about 8%, but the budget imbalance, it's called. That means we're it's 8% more than what the Earth can sequester or can handle. Because all the carbon that we produce, it will either go to the bottom of the sea and sit there for millions of years, or stuff like that. But
yeah,
because it's too full, the Earth's a bit like a sponge. It sucks everything up, and once it, the Earth's full, it's full now. So the only way is by changing our behaviors, I suppose, or the way we do things.
Ken says life has been a lie since 1973. I think it was much earlier than that, in the 1900s, maybe late 1800s. That's when it all changed. Yeah. Now, when it actually changed was the creation of the Magna Carta, innit?
Right, you see that budget imbalance. We went into net CO2 around about 1979, 1978. That's when we went over. And we've been under that budget for the best part of 3 million years. So people could say, a lot of people say, climate change, it changes all the time. It's just natural. But for something that hasn't changed in 3 million years to go 8% over in 45 years, it kind of is alarming if you don't really look into it enough.
Yeah.
I think what's more alarming is the people in charge of the money that could help everyone.
I thought you were going to say be more worried about the people in China suffering from the pollution. They live in it.
Yeah. Well, they plan to up their pollution up until 2026. They're going to ramp up they're going to keep opening coal stations and keep like producing more oil, and then they say they're going to get to a point where they're going to start building nuclear and solar and wind, and it will all take over by 2060, so that they'll be carbon neutral by then.
So they're saying they want to stop, or they want to start to stop using
they already have. Yeah, at the moment they're ramping it up because you need coal's the only way that you can produce steel, so they need all this steel. They're producing all these like factories and hydro dams and windmills and solar panels. It all needs like coal to produce the steel. It's the only way. So their pollution's gone up like huge amounts, and it will go up, keep going up for the next 2 or 3 years.
Well, we won't speak about this too much, but the real problem is us. We're the reason why those power stations are opening up and these coal mines are still opening up.
Well, we're buying all their stuff.
Exactly.
I'd say almost 90% of the things around you is probably made from within China. Either the sources or the actual product was made in China. Can't be many things around you that aren't. But I've got a computer here that was made in California, but I'm sure the parts and the components were made in China.
It's the cow's farts, I tell ya.
Apparently, they wanna like tax cow farmers in New Zealand because of that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's mad.
Wow.
And they're gonna
More
cull a
reason
lot
to
of
use
cows
money.
across Europe.
More reason to use money. Making another excuse for money again. Another reason to use money, guys. God, useless lot.
Money, money.
That's what it should have been at the start.
Yeah.
But yeah, well, so they're gonna tax farmers for the
For
carbon
farting.
emissions for the farts.
Yeah. Yeah. And they're gonna get rid of a lot of cows across Europe.
Yeah.
Like
They're gonna.
milking cows, I think.
Oh yeah, that's the more.
This is a good photo if you want to share this quick. The two choices that they give you, but it always leads to coal. Yeah, basically.
Where's the banner?
Unfortunately, that's the way where they haven't invented something different to produce steel and stuff like that without using coal.
Yeah, because you guys, the one with the patents. Oh man. I don't want to completely be thrown off YouTube. I like YouTube.
Oh, why?
Why? Well, this
Yeah.
is the reason why. For this reason.
What, just talking about stuff?
Everything for their services. I'm using their platform. 8,500 people follow what I do. You know? It's because
Well,
of YouTube.
according that, do you reckon that's why?
Oh yeah.
That's what. Yeah.
People stare at their screens all day on YouTube and subscribe to
Maybe.
channels. I'm one of the problems why people just use their phones, you know, their PCs. I'm part of the problem.
It's, I don't know, the way our society's been designed, and like you say, we grew up in front of the TV when we were kids, wasn't it? And that's all we kind of know. And then you get some people that would go off into the woods and live a life like that, but it's quite hard and it's very rare.
Agent X says, very true. I have to make a conscious effort not to come online these days. See how manipulative these phones are. Is it Alfred? Who spoke about the plant? Ken J the Grey said plants consume O2 and give oxygen, but the amount of plants that we got in the world, is there's far more carbon than there is that the plants can handle. So this is the problem.
Ken J the Grey has put CO2 is approximately 490 at the moment. Can you explain why ice cores show CO2 at 540 and plus higher today? Well, I don't know. I'd say that's like known as warm interglacial periods, which had like higher CO2 levels, basically. Maybe like changes in the ocean, or a volcanic eruption happened that year or something. I don't know. So they see like in the tree rings or the ice cores, or what else is there? There's other things that they measure.
Yeah, Matt is saying it's all Rum's fault. It is Rum's fault.
It is Rom's fault.
He's getting people like you and me to look on our phones all day and waste our times responding. That's what he's doing. He's wasting your time.
Yeah, that'll cause a lot of energy.
Yeah, it does. It does. That sort of thing takes so much energy from a person. And Matty's experienced that energy, that drainage from this YouTube stuff.
So where are we at on this picture? I just shared a picture if you want to. Where are we at? Suppose we're chatting about that. Anyone want to come up? Should we share the link?
Let's share the link. Have you got the link? And I can pin it.
Let me put the link.
Write something before you before the link, if you can. That's
So you were chatting about ExxonMobil earlier. Well, it's like, but in this, I think it was in the 60s. No, it was after Standard Oil had been like demonopolized, and in the 60s, all these big oil companies got together and they started funding all these science projects and boats out at sea, and they basically figured out that the oil companies and stuff were the main contributors to CO2 rises and the warming of the oceans as well. And they managed to hide it for, it was about 15 years. And then that's where that thing you were saying that they're going to get sued. It's been going on for about 30 years, this court case. I think Greenpeace was one of the main people behind it, but I don't know about Greenpeace.
Greenpeace. I don't have nothing about Greenpeace. No.
They'd be in the big oil opposition, sort of.
Oh right, then no, I don't.
Or even controlled opposition. I don't know.
I definitely don't. Then maybe somebody can come up and I have no notes about controlled opposition and big oil opposition. I have no notes about those two areas. If someone can come up and educate me.
Oh, you got Just Stop Oil, Extinction Rebellion, Science Rebellion, Greenpeace. They're just sort of the newer ones. There's been loads around for years.
Yeah, I was in their live stream earlier, and I said, well, I was in the chat, but people were responding, and I said I was doing this discussion today. Come and give us your views, you know, the XR views. Obviously, we might question you about some, but we won't pressure you to nothing. You know, it's all calm here.
Well, you remember like COVID, and you had what I believe was all them fake protests around London, and they all went to Trafalgar Square, and it was all like set up. And you had Kate Shimarani and all them, and David Icke, and it's the same thing with climate change. You've got all these like big investment companies that are funded, like they've given donations to all these Just Stop Oil, Extinction Rebellion. I'm not saying they're completely funding them and they're controlling them, but they're dishing them out a bit of money here and there, and it just seems like that they're doing things that are just pissing people off by blocking roads and putting orange paint on paintings, and there doesn't seem to be they don't have any solutions, or like trying to encourage people to do things that would be better for humanity or whatever. It's another controlled opposition, I believe.
I've got a theory about this now. The reason why the protest laws have come into effect recently, this week or last week, the protest thing. That's why maybe like today's protest, it was promoted as the big one, and only a few attended. A few as in like a few hundred, but not as you'd expect a freedom protest or a ULEZ protest for attendance. That's a low attendance. And to name it as the big one as well. But anyway, this law, the theory that I got with this law, why this law is coming into effect, a lot of the XR protests, oh wait, let me put the banner up as well. A lot of the XR protests, they're protesting now out on the streets, blocking cars. Everyone's getting frustrated with these people. You only need a certain amount of signatures for laws to come into effect. So my question is to the chat or yourself, Age. Has anyone been watching these debates for this law to be placed a few days ago?
No, I haven't.
Has any XR mentions of XR said in the parliament meetings? Because if they were, then these billionaires that are in control are getting exactly what they want. You know, they're stopping us to protest now. Something else is going to be next. But again, like the disclaimer said, don't believe a word we say. We could be mad, or we're all mad in some way. We are, yes. With our manipulative, our egos. But that's what climate change is all about. Egos, you know. The more flashier car you have, and the flashier a house you have, the more fancy stuff you want, you know. So then you're paying more money for it, and then you're getting money involved. This is another thing now. We have to speak about money soon as well. We've spoken about this, isn't it? The monetary system, yes.
Have we?
Yeah, we have, yeah. The banking and monetary system, yes.
Yeah. Yes, we already did that one. So yeah, there should be planting more trees. That's the first thing that should be happening.
See the tree thing as well now. You're saying one of those cities, was it Amsterdam, or they had to cut down like 1 million or so trees, you know, and built the city on top of the trees. What city was that?
Oh, that's Venice. They drive all the tree trunks into the like bog, and then they built Venice on top.
Oh, yes, that's it.
There's millions of trees
all
there.
those trees. Do you know the number of how many trees it can cut down every day in the world?
God knows.
I heard this a few times. I checked it out, and this is a fact that 3 Olympic-sized swimming pools of ice melt every day on the North and South Pole.
Right.
So that's a lot. Imagining, that is a lot. Imagine just dumping that amount into the sea over 20 years. Wow. It will make the sea go up just
It's hardly going to
bit.
be noticeable in a lifetime, I think. But
no, the experts are saying London could be underwater in up to 100 years. Because that's when the sea levels are going to go up. Within 100 years, the sea level is going to go up a little bit, like a meter even. Then more money. Well, we'll be able to handle it, but then we would need to spend more money, and then more cutbacks on everything else, and then more crime and more problems with the transport system, and more charges and more tax and more fines. All of this comes along with money. Yeah.
Yeah, the whole thing's corrupt.
That's it. You useless bunch. That's all I can. That's what I can say. That's the most I can do is just have a platform and just diss the human race. You bunch of idiots.
But it's not like it's not the 99% of us, is it? It's the 1% that seem to reproduce and control history, or not, control the world throughout history.
Reproduce?
Over and over again. Yeah, like it's the same rich, wealthy families that are taking over, and then their children take over, and then... So I'm sure George Soros will plop his clogs at some point, and then his son will take over. That's what will happen.
The shop is 1 minute away. I basically don't live in a 15-minute city. I live in a 5-minute city. When you live in London, it's a 5-minute city. Even my job is within 15 minutes.
A lot of European, a lot of places across Europe, all their villages are being abandoned. So there's a lot of these empty villages everywhere, especially in Italy and Spain and Hungary. It's because I get the feeling that, you know, over the next 50 years, or they've been doing it for 20 years, it's like a 50-year thing. They're pushing everyone out of the countrysides into the cities.
Right.
Easier to control people more, I suppose.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you use less energy as well.
Well, that's the main reason, right? To use less energy.
But you can see that it's the rich people that you consume more than poor people, definitely. Even if poor people have like 10 kids and a rich person just has 2 kids.
No.
They go on holidays more, they have more houses, they'll have staff in those houses.
However, if those families have all of them, everyone had less kids, just one kid, then there wouldn't be as much business as there would. So there wouldn't be as many rich people in the end. So then your plan wouldn't work, you know. You said that wouldn't work. Because there'll be less kids, less humans in the world, then obviously less money going around and being consumed, and you buy this crap and that crap and a PlayStation 5 and an Xbox 360. You buy all of that shite. Yeah. Consume. More carbon. More pollution. More climate change.
Yeah. They need
Make
to
sure,
change,
guys.
replace
Storage.
plastics, don't they? Oil-based plastics. There's loads of different ways you can replace oil-based plastics. Mycelium, hemp, just some of the ways. But obviously, there are certain things that you need oil for.
Yeah.
Humanity won't be able to survive without it. Same with
Well,
coal.
when did oil actually occur in humanity's timeline? Is it the
Oh, we discovered
1900s?
it. We discovered it in 1870s, I think.
So before 1870, 100,000 years of humanity was there before that day, you know? So
We were just like chopping trees down to burn wood to heat homes and cook food.
that's the life, you know?
But
No
then
wonder.
population stayed below 1 billion for ages, hundreds of years. I'd say, or quite a few people say that it's because of oil that we've got 8 billion people.
Yeah.
And without it, we wouldn't be able to survive like that many people. Because you think all the farming's got oil-based pesticides.
Yeah.
It's oil to drive the machines, oil to package it, blah, blah, blah. I could go on all night, but...
It's like the tractor, you know, and the mowing.
Yeah.
Not mowing, but everything that comes along with farming, you know. It used to be with the cow pulling the thing along in the mud. Now it was the tractor. A Massey Ferguson 135.
I think it's in America. They control them from space, the tractors and that.
Oh, right, the new ones,
And
the AI.
they do like
AI.
whole areas and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fucking mad.
What, GPS and all of that stuff?
Yeah. They don't even have the farmer will just control it all. No workers picking the food anyway. It's all done by tractors, driverless tractors. Oil gave us condoms. Condoms as old as Eve. Maybe they use whale oil. I don't know. Couldn't tell you.
If humanity continued as it did before finding oil, if we never found oil,
we wouldn't have the society we have now if we hadn't discovered oil.
It would be a better society.
We'd still be like living in Victorian era.
No.
Something like that, coal fires and working in the pits and shit. Yeah, it'd be like Victorian, a world of the Victorian era. That'd be fucked. Steam engines and
it was all, everything was electric based. Even the London Underground was electric. Well, that's still electric. Like the only thing that's still like electric.
what did Grey Man? Was it the last show he coined that phrase? Homo technologicus. Like everything around us is created with technology based on oil mainly products or steel. Or it's made with a product that uses something that uses oil or steel. So it's hard to get away from it. It's like a ceiling.
There was a lot of things electric back in those days. But I don't know what I'm talking about, guys. So don't believe a word. But yeah, there was a cover up, man, back in the late 1800s, the start of 1900s, with those big names, and they covered everything up for sure.
What, the oil companies?
No. Well, yeah, the oil companies, yeah. They were making more money than countries combined.
This is a good picture. I'll share this quick. 60% of all the oil comes from OPEC. Do you know what OPEC is?
Yeah.
It's like it's oil producing countries. I don't know how many there are. I can't remember. There's not many. There's about it says it here. We go 13 countries. They're the only countries that produce oil, basically. And then the other 40% is controlled by all these companies here that I'm showing you, like Exxon and Chevron and Shell, ConocoPhillips. And they're all owned by Vanguard and BlackRock, basically. Vanguard, BlackRock. Crazy. So they have different parts of the oil industry: the upstream, the midstream, and the downstream, and then the carbon futures.
What carbon? What nutrients?
Futures.
Futures.
Yeah, it's like stock markets and.
Oh right, sure. Yeah.
People will, I don't know what they like, bet on how much a company's gonna produce pollution and how much, shit like that. It's just in the future though. It's crazy.
Oh right. Oh no, you wasn't there yesterday. I said something was in the sky. In the UK skies. Did you see on the Discord? Put a picture of the summit in the UK skies. Is that a UFO or is it a star? And it must be a star. Because it's there again.
UFOs. Have we done a show for UFOs? We haven't, have we?
UFOs. Well, the link is there if anyone wants to join the panel. 90% the climate change talk and 10% waffle.
Waffle.
So climate change, guys. When was climate change first thought of? The age, do you know? I'll give you a hint. It was in somewhere in the 1800s, but when exactly? Do you know?
Was it 1824?
What happened in 1824?
Oh, Jean-Baptiste Fourier. He basically comes up with the greenhouse sort of anthropomorphic climate change, sort of the idea of it all, basically. Or John Tyndall in 1961. He did loads of experiments.
What about in 1896? You said two names. I'll say two names as well. In 1896,
Svante.
Yeah. The Swedish scientist.
Svante Arrhenius
First predicted that changes in the atmospheric carbon dioxide levels could substantially alter the surface temperature through the greenhouse effects. And then
the energy budget, he come up with that as well, sort of thing.
Is that as well? Wow, okay. What was he? A scientist, but also like a political figure as well.
I don't know if he was a political figure, but yeah. And then it wasn't till 1979, the first World Climate Conference. And then they had
No, that's
the IPCC, that was in 1990, and then the Kyoto Protocol in 97, which is where all the governments sort of agreed on like changing and doing certain things.
What about in 1938? Guy Colander connected carbon dioxide increases in Earth's atmosphere to global warming.
All right.
And then in 1975, climate change became more popularized because NASA's climate scientist James Henson used it in his 1988 testimony in the U.S. Senate. Like he coined global warming, and it was popularized because of them.
So yeah, it's been studied for like what 200 years. Then 200 years next year.
Wow.
But then I'd say from the 1970s, it was probably compromised, like a lot of climate change, to suit the big oil companies and government interests.
Yeah.
And also, they have to they come up with new and better ways of like measuring things. Like new technology comes out and stuff, so then they have to go back and reevaluate and change it all. But it does feel like the 70s. That's where it all became corrupt and silly money. Do you know what I mean? It was going around, and then all the Arabs became rich.
Yeah.
Not saying they shouldn't have, but that was just when it was.
Like Dubai, if you see pictures from 30 years ago.
Yeah, and Kuwait, and yeah, all of them were desert. They all lived in like tents and shit, like 100 years ago.
Yeah.
Now they've all got like billion-pound palaces and crazy money. Trying to buy football clubs and
imagine living in a city where you see it from a desert to a tallest building in the world.
Yeah, I got a friend, she was born in China, but she never lived there. She said the town, she grew up in Chongqing, and it was like a town. And now it's like, God knows how many millions are there now. All in about 25 years. About 100 million or something. Fuck those, it's massive. They just build big cities.
Yeah.
That quick.
Like
Dubai. Dubai was a quick city as well.
Yeah, they can do it if they really wanted to, you know. If they had the people to do it, you know, how many days does it take to build 100-floor building, you know, with if you have to get maths involved as well, roughly how many people would it need to take working like 24 hours of the day and night?
Yeah, they certainly got people. Going back to last week's show, like we need more immigrants, and so we can build more big tower blocks. No, I'm joking. An infrastructure quicker. That's it. We need the people, innit? But no, it doesn't work like that.
Well, this country, there is a lot of builders, but a lot of foreigners, when they come over, they do come with the building experience as well.
But then at the same time, do we need to be building any more, like, and destroying any more of the countryside? Because it feels like they're moving us out of the countrysides into the big cities, so they're rebuilding all the cities now. There's a lot of new high rises going up and all these fancy new blocks. with the shops underneath.
Well, it's either that, you know, because the population is getting bigger.
Yeah.
Every day, you know, hundreds of thousands get born every day, but again, 100,000 die every day. But there's more people being born than there is dying.
Yeah.
So this is the problem. And so then we're gonna need to build in the countryside. Imagine the world having 250 billion of us here. Right now, there's just over 8 billion of us. Imagine 250 billion. There will be no countryside.
Or we could, I don't know, help these poor countries stop going into wars, or in fact, the USA and the UK stop going to war with all these countries and making money and destroying all these areas. Then
Yeah,
that would help them. They all wouldn't want to come to the UK. So if every country was like they didn't have war, so they wouldn't. Then there's also natural disasters like places like Bangladesh. They're getting flooding. If we could help them to reduce the flooding or build better infrastructure, then they wouldn't need to come
right.
over, I suppose. It's another thing.
Yeah. Mm.
You got maybe we should start thinking on a global level as well. People say, "Oh, we should sort out the UK first," but it's like a knock-on effect. If we help these countries, then they wouldn't need to come and burden us in our country. I suppose you could say.
Now, what we need to do is all these countries that have been bombed to pieces because of the war, now because of these weapons of mass destruction that every country builds for each other, and they go around bombing everyone, each other's countries. They should start with them, you know, with like a new way of living. So if it works for them, then it can work for us as well.
Closing these big like monopoly companies down like ExxonMobil and BlackRock and Vanguard. That's what needs to happen. If they really, really cared about the environment and global warming and all that, they'd literally shut these companies down, because they're the ones that are producing all the shit that we don't need. And the wars, and then they're going in and rebuilding all these countries after the wars. So it's all a setup for these big companies.
Yeah.
To just sell.
Well, that's it.
That's what needs to change, the corruption, basically.
Yeah.
But that's the same with everything. Whatever we talk about on every show, it's the corruption with the government, and or the governments, or the deep state, or the Illuminati, or whatever you want to call it. If we was to get rid of that, then a lot of things would change.
Yeah. A lot of things would change. But there's a disclaimer here, guys. We're all mad. Don't believe a word we say.
Corruption makes the world go round. Yeah, it does.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah, man.
What else have I got here? Oh, shit. Climate action. The Climate Action Project. Is this true what I've got here? The Climate Action Project is a free 6-week project. Is that true?
I don't know. I've never heard of it.
All right. The climate. This is for climate action, isn't it? The Climate Action Project involves 149 countries. It's a free 6-week project allowing teachers and students ages between 3 to 21 to collaborate on environmental topics. Over the course of the project, classrooms will explore causes and effects of climate change and will have the opportunity to develop solutions and take action against climate.
Sponsored by Shell. It usually is something like that, though.
Scientists warn that human-induced climate change is warming up the planet to the point where it is causing irreversible damage in some parts of the world. That has to be true, innit? Like China, I've seen a lot of videos of them wearing masks because they just they can't see the sun when they're standing in the street because it's covered with pollution. All the factory farming and all the factories that produce our shit that we buy from the shops, you know.
But they've also, apparently China's added in the last 20 years an area the size of Germany. 35 million hectares of trees, like forest, basically. And they plan to triple that.
Have they?
But that's the thing, you never know what China do. But I'm quite sure that they would have, because
on YouTube,
I'm quite sure they understand like the relationship between trees and water preservation stuff.
No, on YouTube, there's one guy that lives out there. He's a journalist and he's against the Chinese. Or maybe he lives here because China will probably lock him up. And so yeah, they're not planting trees. They're just using the green paint and they're splashing it around all the land so that from space it looks like it's green.
Oh, you're talking about Sapenza.
Mm.
Oh, that guy, man. No, I don't listen to him, man. I used to watch his videos about 5 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago. I don't know. Yeah. He got a bit too. Like, I've seen a few debunks on some of his videos, and I just thought, yeah, man, he's a bit. Like, I feel like he's making a lot of money out of just hating on China through his YouTube views. That's basically what he's doing. It's big money, man, in America. But no, saying that though, I did watch something about those, the rocks and painting it and putting it on the sticks.
Yeah, I'll research that.
But it is a big ass country, and like there's stuff going on all over the place. Like,
so somewhere else, again, it said it on the video as well. So he maybe got it from this source. I don't know. But somewhere else it said because they have a lot of inspections, really quickly they'll just like their trees are all dead in the streets. So they'll stick like fake leaves up on all the dead trees, and the bushes as well. They're painting them green to make it look like they're alive.
Spray it.
spraying everything green.
Yeah, maybe they do that. Can't trust everything they do. Corruption makes the world go round. We still on that chat?
When you go to China, guys, can someone take a picture of the leaves?
I don't think I'd ever go.
And bring it up onto the chat, onto the panel. Crazy Lady Jane says, well, the billionaires' travel and lifestyle plans can't be changed. How will they live if they can't steal from us? Have a heart. It's all for their benefit, not ours.
Yeah, I think it's bollocks that they all get to travel around on these flights. And then they have all these big conferences where loads of people fly in and talk waffle for 4 days or whatever. Biggest consumption of fucking carbon going. So it's all hypocritical, really. They could easily do it, like, I don't know, what do you call it, online. They could do it through StreamYard, man.
Is that a Bristolian accent? I'm from London, born and raised.
Is that a Bristolian accent?
My background is Turkish, but I was born and raised in London, and I'm a Londoner.
A Londoner.
First and foremost, even when I go to my mum and dad's country, Cyprus, they see me as a foreigner there. So I treat them like I'm a foreigner. So instead of speaking Turkish, I speak English. And only when they struggle, then I'll speak to them in Turkish. It's funny at the same time. When you see me, Age, we met up for the Masonic tour in London.
Oh yeah.
You didn't think I was Turkish, did you?
No, not really.
Like an Englishman.
What else? What else?
Let's have a look. There are hundreds of different types of climate action projects, which cover the following areas. Okay, so they cover nature-based solutions, renewable energy, community projects, and waste to energy. I explained them earlier. Yeah.
Who was it? Not NATO. The UN. They want to create like a 2 trillion a year climate reparations fund for all the poor countries.
A what?
2 trillion a year, basically. All the rich countries like the UK, the USA, China, Russia, all these countries that produce the most CO2 and are the richest countries. They have to put 2 trillion together and then give it to the poorer countries like Bangladesh and all these countries that are
really
getting flooding. And yeah, I don't know when they're starting it, but yeah.
The guy that's handling all that money, wow.
But in reality, it should be like ExxonMobil, BP, BlackRock, and all them companies that should be paying that $2 trillion.
Yeah.
Not why should we pay it? Well, yeah, no. Why should we pay it?
Well, because of the carbon emissions, I suppose, isn't it? That's the new rules. If you got this, if you produce this much, that's 5 trillion, please.
You could say to them, well, why don't they just stop producing all these things then? Right. And then they'll go, but then we won't make any revenue. So then they should be paying the reparations, climate reparations or whatever, not the taxpayers. I don't know.
No, it'll be an experiment, you know. The
ULEZ thing, that will be paying towards that climate reparations, maybe.
Now the government, they will experiment with the public, and they will empty some shelves and some blinds, and let the complaints come in. And the more complaints that they come in, they know, right, we can control these people. That's all it takes.
SETI is saying, is there a better fuel for cars? Hydrogen is hard to use. Well, they're bringing out all these, what are they called? What are the batteries called? Batteries. Let me have a look.
The batteries. For who? What, the Tesla cars?
Yeah, what batteries do they use? Lithium, yeah.
Lithium.
They're using all like the lithium cobalt batteries at the minute. And obviously you need slaves and they wear out quicker. But they found out that if you use lithium sulfur, and sulfur's everywhere, so they can use it and they don't need to like use slaves to use it. But basically they last longer, they're safer. So they reckon that they'll be replacing all these like batteries. Lithium sulfur. Yeah. Because all these lithium ion batteries are like exploding everywhere in recycling centers, and people like forgetting to like take it out of their trousers when they go to do the washing or whatever, and it's exploding in the washing machine, and yeah, they're dangerous. And then anyone can build them. Like there was loads of people in China just cheaply building them and sending them over.
Sure. That's what it was for the last 40 years, 50 years. It's just been about making money. They fucked everything else, or they just pushed on with money. Soon they're gonna be like, "Oh, we fucked everything up now. We need help. We have to surrender and say, look, country, we need help. USA, we need help."
But then I suppose let's just say that the people running the world right now, whatever you want to call them, if they all just died tomorrow, someone would take over, some other group would take over and be just as ruthless, and they'd impose their shit on the world.
Yeah.
I can't ever see there being a wonderful, peaceful world where we all just share and you can leave your doors unlocked and
well,
no
there
one's
is
going to get
countries
robbed.
Like that. There are
there are countries like that.
Yeah. My country, where I come from in Cyprus, they used to leave the door open all day and night. I'm thinking, why, strangers will come in, but they don't.
Well, why build great products? Keep them just good enough for a short period, and hey presto, it conks out. That's called planned obsolescence, isn't it? Where they design things to break after a few years, so you have to keep buying a new one.
Why build great products become good enough?
Planned obsolescence, yeah. And like we're going back to the Victorian eras, you look at the stuff they built, like some of it's still standing today because it was so well built.
Yeah.
Like iron bridges and stuff. It's still like better than some of the bridges we built in the 70s, like
Yeah.
because they I think yeah, it was just
Like
everything was properly made and they took time, and
it's
nowadays
like the
everything's
Roman
cheaply made with
roads.
oil.
It's like the roads as well, you know. We built over them. They were so well made that we left them there and just built over them, you know. And yeah, they weren't having trouble with potholes and pedestrian crossings and all that shit. And pavements and all that stuff. What they did, no, it was just the road, isn't it? Just a brick road, a stone road. Look at the pyramids. Doesn't matter. Oh shit, how they're built. Like they're still like even there's a lot of pyramids everywhere in the country, in the world. It's not just in Egypt.
But that one lasted all that time.
Yeah. I think that's what we should do, man. I'm speaking waffle here now. We all mad, don't believe a word we say, guys, as a disclaimer. Yeah, I'm gonna speak waffle here now. If I was prime minister of this country, yeah, I'll be like, look, fuck everyone. Yeah, I'm knocking down everything, bringing everyone together and being like, look, I'm gonna pay you guys, uh, 2 million of you, I'm gonna pay you this much. 10 million of you, I'm gonna pay you this much, and 10 million of you, you're gonna build all of this stuff. 2 million of you, you're gonna build this stuff, and the rest of you guys are gonna look after each other and build the farming industry for us to eat. That's what I do. And just build a new empire, a new everything. I think people will say yes to that than what we're currently in. But that's just me waffling, guys. Don't take no notice. Read the banner.
It's like an ultra capitalist world, isn't it? Suppose.
No, but just build a better way.
It's like communism, but controlled by the corporations, sort of thing, behind the scenes.
Not really. It would just be me, and my randomly picked cabinet.
Oh no, I'm on about what we have now, kind of thing. It feels like it. They give us the illusion of like voting and systems organize the world. Would you be a benevolent king? Local.
The king. Well, now I'll just do my time, and that's it. If you want me to do more, I'll do it for the people. My time as prime minister, and that's it. Once I've knocked down everything,
King Charles isn't. Definitely not.
If I knock down everything, and then everyone decides, "Oh, fuck you, local. We don't want you to be prime minister no more." It's gonna be someone else is gonna take over. That's it. My reign's over.
Or a glamorous queen. That would be a good one. I don't even think you need a political system, really. I don't know. If it would be like all done by voting, where every day everyone votes, but then you'd get pissed off every morning having to like scroll through and go through all the, right, I vote on that, I vote on that, I vote on that.
Yeah,
People would just be like flippant about it and they wouldn't really care about it. So that's probably why you have a body of government to represent our feelings or whatever. But they never get it right. It's a tough one, isn't it? I suppose there's always got to be some form of authority to keep I don't know, everyone on a certain balance. But then they take it too far and become a bit of a communist oligarchy type world.
Well, my idea. It's just for the country, not the world. Yeah, well, that's it. Who said that? Obsolete optics. We heading in one direction. We just have to get on with it. We know it's coming. Just live our lives as happy as we can. So in 15 minutes, if we have to live in 15 minutes cities and ULEZ zones, then we're gonna have to live in 15-minute cities and ULEZ zones. There's nothing we can do about it, guys. Stop acting like you're gonna stand up and do something.
Yeah. Nice. They've got billions of pounds invested in fighting against whatever we could muster up. But I suppose the best thing you could do is to create your lifestyle where you don't have to be reliant on the government and the corporations as much as possible. I don't know.
Like a
For example, like growing your own food and shit. Even if you can only just grow tomatoes, at least you don't have to go and buy tomatoes. I don't know. That's a start. Some people like to get a van and like put solar panels on it and go traveling forever. Or I don't know. Whatever life brings you, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but for everyone else, We're all heading in the same direction. We're all heading in the same direction. It doesn't matter if you're rich or poor. We're all headed in the same direction. 15-minute cities. If the rich guys want to live in their own rich 15-minute cities, well, they're living in 15-minute cities.
Oh, they will do. They'll be in their gated communities. They're already in them.
Yeah, they are.
They're already in them.
See, they're already in them, guys. And what are you guys doing about it? Absolutely nothing. The human race. Wow. We have to call ourselves something else.
Whenever something controversial comes along, like COVID or climate change, they just create the controlled opposition for it. So then everyone joins it and thinks, yeah, we're fighting against the government and the evil, but eventually it all just fizzles out and nothing ever happens. And then something new comes along, what the mainstream media's created, and everyone jumps on that, and it just goes round and round in circles, and can get a bit frustrating sometimes, but what can they do? Spoken like a true doomer, that was. Soil, water, air, that's all you need, definitely.
Yeah. Yes, guys. The Duma. That's a good nickname, isn't it? The Duma. Local experimentalist Dumas. Local Duma UK. Yeah, that's a good one.
Distract, divide, and conquer.
Yes, guys, we don't want to end this show too soon. Let's have a guest on. 20% waffle and 80% climate change. Then
It's gone down. Yeah, it was 90%.
yeah.
Yeah.
Alfred, jump on, man. Or anyone really. Obsolete optics. You can jump.
See, ways of I don't know, action, I suppose, is the best way. And the fastest way is nuclear. I can't see how like hydro or wind can replace coal and gas and oil for energy, not electric. All these like wind turbines just break down after a while, and all that metal, steel used. Work from home, 80 hours a week. Keep yourself busy. Dial a delivery.
I wish. That's
Yeah,
what
I
everyone
suppose.
needs. An online income. That's how you work from home, an online income.
But then that's what she's saying. Like they want to keep everyone in their own little prisons, isn't it? Where you think you're free, but you're not. You just go around in the same cycles. What else? What else?
Well, I'll put 1 and 2. Deborah Hart, the Spaniard, put 1 in the chat if you accept the lockdown, and 2 if you don't.
I don't see they'll never get a lockdown for like COVID again, but don't know.
Yeah, the climate crisis, that's gonna be next. Everyone's gonna be
I don't see how they'd what they'd come up with to
they're gonna
get us to stay in our home, unless there's a release of chemicals or something. But
no. You know the doomsday clock. When it strikes 12, there's a few seconds left. In the last 20 years or so, there was like a minute left or so, and now there's a few seconds left, and it's gone down to like 4 seconds left. So any time now when it reaches doomsday, then that's it. The world's gonna fall on itself because of all the emissions, and people are gonna suffocate and have more chest pains than they already do, and yeah, shit like that.
today,
Well, yeah, no.
the
excuse age that they'll use for another lockdown because of emissions is the way that they'll manipulate people into saying yes, we need another lockdown. They'll show the effects of the COVID lockdowns, and it will show how green the waters went, the polluted waters, they become green. You know, a lot of the cities with their lakes, it was green because there was no boats. The sky was bluer. There was more sunshine than there was rain. Yeah. And with that, they're gonna.
It did used to snow every year. I remember when I was a kid.
Yeah,
and
it
it would
snowed
settle
during
for
lockdown.
days. Like now, it just snows every, I don't know, 3 to 5 years. Doesn't like, I don't know, maybe up north in Scotland it snows every year, but down in England it used to snow every year and it'd settle every year, and it'd be thick for days.
Right.
I don't know. It's rare now.
It snowed during lockdown. So this year, if it doesn't snow this year, then it means factories have an effect on everything.
Yeah.
Deborah Hart, I originally from the UK.
Yeah, I was in Portugal a couple of years ago and it got up to 48 degrees, man. Like tires melting on cars, and there'd been loads of forest fires all that month as well. It's crazy how hot it gets.
Yes, obsolete optics. I was a big fan of COVID lockdowns. Much less traffic on the roads made getting to work much easier. Yes,
Yeah.
if you're like me and use a bike, I got an e-bike. So if I'm living in a ULEZ zone, it's fine. I can travel anywhere I like. No cars on the road.
But then it did exactly what we said it would do, wreck the economy. Like the lockdowns. You knew it would. And also a lot of kids, like, I don't know, their school was ruined that year. A lot of mental health issues came from it.
But this time they'll obviously promote lockdowns and say, we need to have lockdowns. And then people are going to eventually agree to have lockdowns. And
No,
then
I don't think there'll ever be a lockdown again. Maybe like certain areas there might be a catastrophe or a chemical leak or too much pollution or it's too hot so you're not allowed to go out. I don't know.
I like the lockdown.
About 2 weeks ago, around my area, for 24 hours, there was no water anywhere. Like the taps just ran out. Everything ran out. Couldn't flush the toilets. Nothing. And there was queues in the shops. All the drinks had gone. All the water had gone.
Wow.
All the supermarkets. All the water had gone. And that's just one small town, man. For 24 hours. It's crazy. Imagine stuff like that's going to happen more and more, like over there. Yeah, I think.
Then you need to go to the shop earlier.
It's all because of a burst pipe.
Well, then if somebody
It's an
knew
old
how to fix
Victorian infrastructure.
yeah, if somebody knew how to fix it, go ahead and fix it. Towards the government. Yeah. I'll say that if you know how to fix it, go ahead, fix it, man. I'll pay you.
But it's just mad how it can get into that situation so quick, where a whole town runs out of all of its drinks and water and shit. And in just one night, imagine if it continued for a week. Crazy.
Yeah.
Didn't bother me, but I was at work all day, and then I went to bed.
I would always use, if I was the Prime Minister again, back to my waffle, if I was the Prime Minister, I wouldn't use contractors and shit like that. And all the multi corporations,
But I suppose they're the companies that can deliver all these big, like, infrastructure deals and contracts.
Yeah, no, but I'll use the people, I'll use the public to get things done.
Yeah. But then it would take a lot longer. It'd probably cost a bit more, maybe. I don't know.
Yes, crazy lady Jane. 20. If they had the infrastructure, exactly. This is what I was saying. 15 minutes, 20-minute cities would work if they bring all the hospitals closer. This is the problem. It's hospitals. There's like one main hospital. If there was like little hospitals scattered everywhere in 15-minute cities, like one scattered here, one scattered there, one scattered there. so that people can just walk to the local hospital. Instead of having 200 beds, you have like 40 beds in that hospital and 40 beds in that hospital.
There's also there's a university in America that they're building like a nuclear reactor deep underground just to power the university campus. So
Wow.
they'll start doing shit like that where they'll have tiny nuclear reactors just
Sure.
enough to power a small area like a 15-minute city or whatever.
Yeah.
Have them dotted around. Instead of having one like massive nuclear power station and
Yeah. Really complicated, man, the world. You humans, again, it's thanks to you humans, the human race. Disaster to the planet. If the aliens come here and they wipe us out, like some of these films, I don't know, I think that's better, innit? Just let them take the planet. They'll probably use it for better purposes. Why do the aliens always attack America? I don't know. They're at the top, innit? That's why. Which way do the aliens come from?
that's a good one.
Which or it must be America, you know, with all their satellites. So it must be America. Or India or China. Who knows, you know? The more satellites a country has got, the closer aliens will contact them first. Who knows?
And then you get like all these big companies, the electric companies, they're making record profits. And then we're subsidizing them for like God knows how many hundreds of billions. Whereas all those hundreds of billions we could have given loads of people solar panels or whatever. And then they wouldn't need to use all that electric and oil. That's corruption, basically. Giving them all them subsidies.
Yeah.
And no one's batted an eyelid. Because people were just talking about, I don't know, Boris Johnson or Philip Schofield or distractions.
Everyone's talking about it's all the tragedies that has happened. There's two major tragedies that has happened with boats.
Oh, that Titanic thing, Titan.
Yeah, the submarine and the immigrant boat. The boat killed about more than
800, not 80.
a lot of people, you know, and no one spoke about that. Yes, man, the human race is so easy to manipulate, you know. One person can do it. It's called hypnosis. You know, they can hypnotize you and make you do anything you want, exactly the same. What you watch on TV and what you read on newspapers. If the same keywords pop up, it's just gonna affect you. You know, I've witnessed it. A friend of mine, I was staying around his house, and we was reading the newspaper. And he said a few things to me. He's like, "No, cool. This has happened in the newspaper. That has had to happen in the newspaper." I'm like, "All right, calm down, calm down. It's just a newspaper." But then, while we were sleeping, I woke up. Obviously, smoked a cigarette or whatever. And in his sleep, he was saying what he was reading in the newspaper. In his sleep, and I'm like, "What? What are you saying, mate? What are you saying?" And it was him sleeping and talking in his sleep, and he was saying what he was reading in the newspaper earlier on the day.
That's weird.
So the newspaper obviously affects you while you're asleep. While you're sleeping, anything you read affects the brain while you're sleeping.
So subconsciously, doesn't it?
Yeah. This is the problem. This is why I watch out for what I see with my eyes. You know, I don't want it to affect my sleep. They say you have nightmares, but you don't. It's not called nightmares. It's just called night terrors, and it's where your eyes open during the night.
Yeah, I've had this.
Yeah,
Rapid eye movement, and
not just
I mean,
that,
that's
but
REM.
you start shouting because you can't move. Your eyes are just open. You know, they're not supposed to have opened, but they opened. You know, your eyelids for some reason. You probably fell into a deeper sleep, which led to your eyes opening. You know, because the eyes usually open with a dead person. It will stay open more than it will stay closed. So then the eyes open, and then you see you're supposed to be sleeping and your eyes open, and you're thinking, why is my eyes open for? And so then you try and move, and you can't move. So then you start getting scared, and then you're thinking, why can't I move? What's happening? Shit, something's wrong with me. Something's wrong with me. And you start getting worried, so you start panicking. And then so you start trying to shout, but you can't shout because your body's still sleeping. And you're trying to shout, and then trying to kick and punch, and then eventually you come out of it, and then you're like, "Shit, what was that? Ah, nightmare! Fuck."
Weird, isn't it? Nightmares.
Yeah. But it's not a nightmare. It's just your eyes opened during the night. Sleep paralysis. Yeah, it's called night terrors.
Night terror. Yes. Don't know. I haven't had one for ages.
I had one recently, like in the last 3 months. My eyes opened and I started shouting and screaming, and flinging my legs, shaking my legs, and trying to get out of whatever I was thinking. And my brother woke up and he fling the door open, and as he fling the door open, my eyes were open, and I come out of my trance. So then, and I see him open the door while I was in the trance, and then he opened the door, made a sound, and because he made the sound, the brain woke up, the ears heard it, and the brain woke up. Yeah, and then I'm like, fuck. So I just told my brother it's just a nightmare. Go back to sleep.
Mad.
But I've had it before a few times. You know, it's not my first time.
Oh, what else then? We spoke about everything, didn't we? I suppose. Yeah, don't know.
Oh yeah. Climate change, global warming was the first one.
I think all of these, you see all these bollocks like newspaper articles that come out like climate change is causing people to put on weight and shit like that. It's just, they're just selling newspapers and it just makes the whole thing look stupid. Which the whole thing is, a lot of it is like, it's just corruption via carbon credits and all that.
Well, exactly. It's to manipulate you into doing it. What they're telling you to do. They want you to follow their orders, and you're following it. That's it. There's only 13 of us. If there was 13,000, then obviously, oh wow, then I can say a few more things, you know. Delete the stream, obviously. Then I've got a massive audience, and I can be like, yes, look, this is what we're gonna do. If out of the 13,000 of you, 7,000 of you are from England, vote for me. I'll pay all that money to put my name down for mayor, for prime minister. You know, I need about 10,000 signatures to have a chance. Yeah, so 7,000 of you, and then with word of mouth, another 3,000. That's it. I'm in line to be prime minister in the national vote.
Be nice if it was that easy. You then got the media fucking prying into your life and yeah, loads of shit. I wouldn't want to be a politician. Politicians, most of them don't have any shame anyway. Like, they're just there to make money.
Global, exactly. Yeah, I got it somewhere. I read it out near one somewhere. The global climate warming change. No, that's the climate action project, isn't it? Yes, hello, Mrs. J. Hello to all the lovelies that you spoke to earlier.
All the lovelies.
What's this, Mrs. J? Oh, it's YouTube. Oh, this video is good. Why don't you show this, Age? The video that Mrs. J has put in the chat. This is
My sound wouldn't work, I don't think. It's probably best if you do it.
Oh, I can't do it. Maybe I
For
can
some
turn
reason,
my
my
camera
sound
on.
won't. Well, what about if Miss J come on quick? What was that? Or someone that's got sound.
It's on YouTube, so it should be fine.
Strawberries. What's that? Oh, the wildfires, yeah. That are just happening everywhere.
Yeah. All the wildfires, yeah, that's a good, interesting thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
And the smoke storms that's happening right now in America. But it's not just America, is it? It's the whole planet. But forest fires is a natural thing. It's been going forever, you know. There's always been forest fires.
Yeah, have they gone up in, I don't know what time frame, but have they gone up in a certain amount of years or gone down, or it's not really someone I've looked into.
That's true.
I find like a lot of alarmists, they go, oh, look at this is happening and that's happening, and I think, well, actually, it's since the internet's come along and everyone's filming everything with their phones, it feels like more things are happening, but in reality we're just filming it now and we're able to, do you know what I mean? All these things, mate, they used to happen. Maybe it's all increased a bit more, I don't know, but that's the impression I get sometimes.
Interesting theory. Let's read a few more comments. Crazy Lady Jane, Batman. I really had to think about it. I don't recall any of my females saying it to me. Batman and the females, man. Politrix. What's that? Age, you know?
Politics.
Politics. Oh, right.
Politrix.
Yeah, Politrix, exactly. Global warming. Obsolete Optics says global warming was too scary and threatening to capital, so they changed it to climate change. So people could be like, well, the climate's always changes. It's called seasons. So what? And continue BAU. What's BAU? See, I'm slow with these things. Waffling. Yeah, well, I agree with that. It's like
Well,
that's right.
like I was saying at the start of the show,
Sorry.
like climate change is a number of things interwoven into one to make the climate. It's not just one thing.
Yeah.
Whereas like global warming, it's just sort of the increase of Earth's surface temperature. So that's you could even say that's part of the climate, isn't it? So yeah, climate change and global warming are two different things.
Well, doesn't that layer of emissions in the sky play an effect in all of these storms?
Don't know, maybe. What, the ones in Canada where it all went orange?
Yeah. Not just in Canada, it happened in America as well, didn't it? It went orange.
Yeah, I don't really know what happened there.
But they're only showing the wildfires over there. They're not showing it everywhere else, the bigger fires, you know. They're showing the fires in the more populated areas. This is the problem. Let's go on to Google now. And let's put
Apparently, wildfire smoke blocks the shorter wavelengths, such as yellow, green, and blue, and it leaves just red and orange to pass through the hue. So that was the reason. That's how cities used to look, though, back years ago when everyone was like using coal. It was all just like smog and
the US has got the most wildfires in the world. Because a lot of the hot countries in the world, they're desert.
probably Spain in Europe, is it? Probably.
Yeah.
In Portugal, where my mum lives, I think once a year she has the fire brigade come round and they inspect her land for for sort of to see if there's a dead wood lying around and stuff like that.
Oh wow.
Yeah, you have to manage it properly, or you get fined as well.
So this is what they're doing with the you were saying earlier, the farmers getting taxed for the farts,
Yeah.
for the animals, carbon releasing the carbon emissions. So they give you fines for environmental issues. Wow.
Well, that's more like safety, isn't it? Because it starts fires, I suppose. If one small fire starts, it'll just spread across the whole fucking forest, isn't it? Quick.
Yeah.
Because it's so dry and.
Yeah, man. Well, I've been waffling for 2.5 hours.
Yeah,
Nice
man.
one. And we still got 10 legends in the chat. Yes.
It was a good chat.
Mm-hmm.
It was a good chat, and we shall be back for more.
Oh yeah. I just remembered. Next Sunday and Monday and Tuesday, I'm working. So I don't know what I'm gonna do.
Yeah, man.
Friday.
Maybe miss it out a week, or I don't know, whatever. We'll figure it out.
Yeah. All right. Cool.
Yeah, man. Nice one, everyone. It's been
Yeah.
good.
Thank you for everyone for joining the stream this evening and taking part. We'll leave it at that for this evening. I know everyone's got better things to do than walking around on their gadgets all day and night. Yeah. So yeah, that's it. We'll see you again next week. If not next week, then the week after. But yeah, we'll try. Or it will just
Enjoy
be.
the sun.
It will just be a different day. So yeah, like AgeCase said, enjoy the sun, and we'll see you soon.
Peace out. Peace out.